We have a weird homicide.
Human massacre. 5 were killed.
When you kill somebody, you're killing yourself.
The incredible brutality of these savage, nightmarish murders.
Fear was Charlie's
I walk
game.
and live in murder all my life.
Charles Manson converted intelligent, middle-class kids into putty-like zombies.
The jury could only come to one verdict, guilty.
To explain Manson, it could not be done in words.
The most famous murder in the history of Los Angeles.
Sharon Tate was a young actress, stunning even by movie star standards.
Sharon Tate. She's today's kind of girl.
3 friends were staying with her that night. The windows were open. A cool breeze was blowing.
It's simply going to be a quiet, comfortable night. And of course, it turned out not to be.
Charles Manson was a rock star wannabe and a madman.
He could literally get his followers to kill for him.
Everyone wondered, how did he turn these all-American women into monsters?
I knew that people would die. I knew that there would be killing.
He controlled them, and they did what he wanted.
They were so young.
And what he wanted was murder, brutal murder.
If it don't get done, then I'll move on it. And that's the last thing in the world you want me to do.
You're about to see what evil looks like in the face of Charles Manson.
Yeah, we're ready.
Well, I'm a sound man, I'm a sound recordist, and I was working production for ABC News, and we were headed off for Corcoran Prison to interview this man. The plan was we'd set up the room, and the very last thing to do would be to send me out into the hallway to put a microphone on Charles Manson.
Come on, Charles. Come on, Charles. All right. You're set. All right.
All right, easy.
You're gonna call us when we're done. We'll come and get you.
And as I'm putting the microphone on, he looks me in the eye and he says, "Where are you from, boy?" And the hair on the back of my neck stood up. And I said, I'm from Los Angeles, sir. And he said, Los Angeles. And I've been waiting a long time for a bus to come pick me up and take me on back.
Hello.
There was tension in the room.
Can you see yourself in there?
I can see myself in there. They don't have mirrors where I'm at.
Oh, really? So you never see yourself?
Well, yeah, they got little funny little things. You get a close look a little bit there. Beard's getting long. How are you doing?
His hands were handcuffed together, chained together, and then they were chained to his waist.
Here's the key thing to remember. This figure who walks into the room to talk to Diane Sawyer, who looks like he's been worn out and hung up wet for so long. Do not confuse that guy with the Manson of the late 60s. Footage of him from that era tells a very different story. He is commanding, he is somewhat magnetic, and really a much more malevolent force.
Manson had cut into his forehead, just above the bridge of his nose, an X. Then Charlie turns the X into a swastika.
He understood the iconography of evil, and he embraced it.
Everybody likes that evil character they created, you know that guy with the eyes. You gotta realize, man, all them guys you've been creating are not really real in real life, man.
And you're trying to take him in, and he is presenting himself to you as he wishes.
So, are you all from New York or some guys from LA here, right?
A psychopath is born, to do wrong, I suppose, and a sociopath is transformed by his upbringing and surroundings into this person who does terrible things. So which was Manson? It almost depends on your point of view.
I just can't seem to adjust to your society because no matter what I do is wrong.
If I were interviewing Charlie Manson today, one of the questions I would have for Charlie, because I'm fascinated how he ended up like he did, was start at the beginning, Charlie. Tell me what happened as a kid.
Welcome 1934. Roosevelt was 9 months into his presidency. Unemployment was still high, depression still deep, but a newsreel of the time reflected...
Charles Manson was born on November 11th, 1934. He just turned 82 on his last birthday.
His mother, Kathleen, gave birth to him when she was 15. His father was a man who left soon afterward.
I am a street child. I'm a runaway little girl at 15 years old out of Kentucky named Kathleen Maddox. And she went to Cincinnati and had a guy named Charlie Manson.
When he's 4.5, his mother and his uncle are sent to prison for a botched attempt at armed robbery.
And she went to prison, and I used to visit her in the prison visiting room. The only thing my mother taught me was that everything she said was a lie. And I learned never to believe anyone about anything.
There's a boy in class Charlie doesn't like. And at recess, a bunch of the girls jump this boy and beat him up. The principal steps in. And the girls say, well, Charlie told us to do it. Manson's defense, 6 years old. It wasn't me. They were doing what they wanted to do. You can't blame me for what other people do.
Incidents that took place basically had nothing to do with me personally.
By the time he's 13, he's involved in auto theft and armed robbery, and the judge sends Charlie to Boys Town.
Boys Town is real.
It ran in the Indianapolis Star. The idea that, you know, we have young people who get in trouble, but we have kind judges who will send them to places where they can learn to become productive members of society. Charlie lasted 4 days, and he and somebody stole a car and set out, and they got all the way to Utah before they were captured. Charlie was a con artist even as a child.
1944, I went to juvenile hall. I didn't get out till 1954. I turned 21 years old in the LA County Jail. I wasn't out but a hot second. I've been in jail all my life.
But while he's in prison, he hears the Beatles. And the Beatles, you have to remember, 1964, late 64, 65, suddenly they are everywhere. They are permeating our culture.
3,000 screaming teenagers are at New York's Kennedy Airport to greet, you guessed it, the Beatles.
And they come to represent to Charlie Manson what he wants most: fame, power, women throwing themselves, all the money you could imagine.
Hey, Beatles! Line up this way!
Maybe because he knew what was going on out there, he picked up a little guitar and he started to play and to write some of his own songs in prison.
There's certainly evidence that he picked up quite a few skills, you might say, in prison.
He learned from the pimps. He learned from Dale Carnegie classes.
Remember, if you want to be liked instantly, do as the puppy does. Become genuinely interested in other people and show it.
He learned from the Scientologists.
Scientology means knowledge or truth, study of.
Manson used his time in prison to prepare himself to thrive as a criminal after his release.
See, I never realized that people outside are much different than the people inside. People inside, if you lie, you get punched. And when I got out, all your children would come to me because they never had anybody tell them the truth.
At the last minute, when Manson learns he's going to be paroled, he actually tells the authorities, don't let me go, I don't think I can handle it out there. But it's too late, prisons are overcrowded, and so they send him out anyway. But that one moment, he's being honest. If you let me out, I think I'm going to do the same things that I've been doing or even more.
The city of Los Angeles has had another multiple murder.
Shot and stabbed to death. Another bizarre murder.
8 murders
Their
without
back
reason.
brutally cut by a whip.
Charles Manson, the cult leader accused of murder.
Wish they'd listened to him.